Well, the White House today standing by embattled Veterans Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki as we hear growing calls for his removal. This over a scandal involving a veterans hospital and allegations of vets dying because they could not get the care they needed. Listen to just some of what we've heard in the last few days about events at the Phoenix VA.
They started a secret waiting list. It was a paper list. So when you would come in for an appointment, they'd tap your information into the computer, and rather than hit save, they would print it. And then there was actually no record that you had ever been there.
I cried my eyes out, and it only confirmed what they did to Pop. Horrible care. They didn't give him any respect.
They're flat out lying. That's why Dr. Foote came out. That's why I'm here to support Dr. Foote, because I know firsthand. I've seen it, I've done it, I've used it. We did it every day.
They contributed to it and they let him die, and they deserve to pay the price just as if somebody had taken a gun and shot him.
There was a move made by administration to bring in eligibility staff to essentially go into the computer and electronically erase that list.
The President remains confident in Secretary Shinseki's ability to lead the department and to take appropriate action.
Pete Hegseth is an Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran, CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, and a Fox News contributor. And so the White House so far standing by Shinseki, even as some veterans groups like the American Legion call for his resignation. Your thoughts?
Well, if this administration is good at anything, they're good at closing ranks. Whether it's Holder or Sebelius, they're going to stand by their guy. This is a game changer, though. This is different than those departments for one key reason. The American Legion is the largest veterans organization in America. If they call for Shinseki to step down, that is in effect a vote of no confidence.
First time they've done that in 30 years.
30 years. The last cabinet secretary they called for, 1941, the labor secretary. They don't do these types of things. Yeah, as far as a cabinet level secretary. So what they've done is effectively, in a sense, broken a partnership. These VSOs, VFW and Legion, work very closely with the VA to help veterans access the care that they deserve. For the Legion to step up and say we have no more confidence in the secretary sends a very clear signal that this White House, whether they want to ignore it or not, cannot ignore. The Legion is too big, too influential, too involved in the lives and outcomes of veterans for them to just stand by and say, well, we're going to stand by our man. They have to say that today. I think there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
But the VFW, I think it was, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, did not go that far. Does that give the administration not cover, but the permission to reject these calls right now?
Maybe a little bit. I think, and all the other organizations have said, we're going to wait to see what the IG actually finds in Phoenix. So we've got allegations based on whistleblowers that have been collaborated from multiple sources. That's why the Legion, that plus Fort Collins in Colorado, where the same thing was happening.
Right, it's not just Phoenix.
No, it's not just Phoenix. That's what everyone needs to know. Phoenix is an example of a much larger problem. Legion got it and courageously stepped out. It's a very courageous move for the Legion to do what they did. We hope the VFW and other groups will step out and do what they know they need to do.
But why do you hold Shinseki responsible? I realize he's the man at the top, but this was happening, you know, at a couple of different VAs, or we don't know how many. Wouldn't there be somebody lower than Shinseki who was supposed to be managing this and have his or her hands dirty on this?
Absolutely. That's why the Legion didn't just call for Shinseki. They called for the head of the Benefits Administration and the Health Administration as well, the number 2 and number 3 of VA.
But Shinseki is a veteran himself.
He's
I mean, the thought that he would have known this was happening and not done anything, is it just a negligence thing? He's ultimately the man responsible, so he's got to go?
That's a big part of it, but it doesn't stop at Shinseki either. You've got to have overall accountability of this department. It's calcified. It's over-bureaucratized, to invent a word, but there's a reason why these things are happening. It's a top-down approach that isn't working. Shinseki is indicative of that problem. We don't have confidence that he would reform or shake up this system.
So far, so bad on this. Pete, thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Well, tonight, the